Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Trek and Faith, where we not only explore strange new worlds, but we explore the faith that weaves through them. I'm your host, John Lane, and today we're going to be diving into Season 6, Episode 15 of Star Trek The Next Generation, Tapestry. It first aired on February 15th, 1993, and was written by Ronald D. Moore and directed by Les Landau. In the episode, Captain Picard dies on the operating table after a skirmish with a species known as the Lunarians. He awakens to not find himself on the table, but rather in a white void, only to be met by Q, who claims to be God, and that Picard is dead and is in the afterlife. Picard does not believe Q, as he has dealt with the omnipotent being on many occasions. However, Q seems to be telling the truth when he holds up his artificial heart, telling Picard that had he not lost his real one during his rebellious younger years, then he might have lived. Picard then says that he regrets many things that he has done in his youth, to which Q offers him the opportunity to remedy his mistakes as a bashful, arrogant young man. Q then lets Picard live out the days leading up to the attack that would change him forever in order to grant Picard his wish of redoing everything over again. We see Picard get dumped on one-night stands, being rambunctious, partying, you name it. We then also get a glimpse of Picard's friend, Ensign Corey, where he gets hassled by some Nausicaans over a game of Damjat, which is pretty much a Star Trek equivalent of pool. And when he confides in Picard and another friend in Marta about rigging the table to get back at them, Picard insists that he does not want to do it, as he knows how events will unfold, trying to tell Corey with wise words of later years to not go through with it. Now, Corey does not like that Picard went from brash and arrogant to wise and safe in a flash. But his friend Marta, however, seems to like this new Picard, with Picard even confiding in Q, saying that he regrets not pursuing a relationship with her. With this second chance he has been given, he goes further with her. However, what ensues causes them to be unsure whether or not the relationship could survive a night of romance. As the three spend one last night on the town before they are shipped off to service, very awkwardly I might add, the Nausicaans return from a Damjat rematch. At this point, they would have the rematch, they lose, they fight, and Picard would get stabbed in the heart. However, this time around with the do-over, Picard tries to convince Corey that fighting them is not the answer, to which Corey straight up ignores. As one of them goes for Marta, Corey goes into strike only for Picard to push Corey out from the strike, and the Nausicaans mocking them for their cowardice. Corey leaves in disgust, and Marta separates from Picard. He saved his heart, but not his two closest friends, unfortunately. Q then brings Picard back to the present day, where he is back on the Enterprise, but he is not a captain, rather he is a junior grade science officer. Nobody from the main cast knows his name, and he keeps his head pretty low. When he meets up with Riker and Troy in 10 Forward, he asks them if he's a good officer, and they say yes, but find it hard to really list off a whole lot of standout qualities about him that separate him from the rest. When he asks about being capable of so much more, Riker tells him that it is not very realistic, mostly due to him playing it safe and not really taking any chances in life, with Troy even telling him that he has always had big goals and big ambitions, but never really did what it took to accomplish them. With that, Q then takes Picard back to the White Void, where Picard admits that the man he just lived out had zero passion or drive like the man we all know and love. By playing it safe and never really doing anything in his life, he gained nothing. We then see Q bring him back to the land of the living, where the episode ends with Picard telling Riker of, his experiences. The overall lesson for me that I learned from this episode is to really, in reality, take a leap of faith. To take a chance and seize the opportunity in front of you, even if there is a risk to be had. By playing through life safely, you don't really get anywhere. You don't improve yourself, and you'll never know what could have been if you had just taken the chance to grow. Already some verses pop out in my mind, like Joshua chapter 1 verse 9, for example, stating, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Now, I do not think Picard believes in any kind of God, as seen with Q, and Roddenberry really didn't believe a whole lot in God in general. However, this verse can still speak volumes to those who do believe in God, and even to those who may not, perhaps. In Joshua chapter 1 verses 9, this is when Joshua had to lead the people who had been wandering the desert for 40 years, and this was an extremely tall task for him. However, despite all the risks that came his way, God told him that he would be with him. The risk was great, but the reward was even greater. Either play it safe and live out the rest of your days in the desert, or risk everything and trust in God and live in paradise. In Matthew chapter 6 verse 34 it states, "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble on its own." This verse is not much about risk, but it's still relevant to this episode in a way. When Picard got to have his do-over, he rectified his mistakes made in the past because he was worried his life could turn out how it would turn out tomorrow if he didn't rectify them now. I'm definitely not recommending the brash things that Picard did in his youth, far from it, but by preventing himself from making those mistakes and taking the risks that he did not really grow as a person, and nor did he learn from his mistakes either, because he never really made any mistakes. He played it safe. From what I can tell, we shouldn't worry about tomorrow because we do not know what's to come. By focusing on today, we might make mistakes, but learning from them will help us go into tomorrow better than what we were the day before. And finally, I think the biggest passage that stands out to me though is Matthew chapter 25 verses 14 through 30, detailing the parable of the 3 servants and the bags of gold. Each one is given gold. One gets 5 bags, the other gets 2, and the last servant only gets 1 bag of gold. And 2 of them come back to the master with double the gold than what they had before, whether it be through trading, investing, etc. The 3rd servant, however, took his 1 bag and hid it somewhere safe. Despite the fact that the servant brought the gold back to his master and didn't steal any of it, brought it back to him with the same amount, the master was furious that he did not even take the opportunity to increase his wealth, even through a method as simple as putting it in the bank to gain interest. The 2 servants who did take the risk and doubled the gold were trusted with more and grew and gained more opportunities with him, while the 3rd remained stagnant in his life and did not really get anywhere. Much like the 3rd servant, junior grade Picard played it safe, and thus never gained the opportunities that he would have as a captain. Overall, this episode and the scripture that goes with it really can enlighten us on the opportunities that come our way in life. They might be daunting, they might be scary, and they might have us risk a great deal to pursue them. If we back down, we don't get hurt, but we don't really grow as a person. If we face them head on, we can evolve and grow. Even if mistakes are made and things don't go according to plan, it's still rewarding as the mistakes we make can teach us more about ourselves and how we live. Overall, this episode really does encapsulate what it means to seize the day and take up the opportunities that are not only presented to you through your life, but also the ones that God has given you as well. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Trek and Faith.